Godzilla was bitching about
And
that.
we're live.
Ooh.
Welcome to the Linus Tech Tips live stream. We've got a lot of fantastic topics for you guys tonight. I think we're going to have to move this time permanently because there is just nothing we can humanly do to get all of our NCIX Tech Tip stuff shot, get back here in traffic, and somehow have all the equipment set up by 4 o'clock. It's just not possible.
It's more traffic.
And you know what's funny is it would have worked today if I hadn't forgotten my keys.
Yep.
Think about it. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot my keys today. So we couldn't get into the film studio at NCIX, which was entirely my fault. And then we had another panic moment when we actually got back to my house because my wife is back at work now. She was on maternity leave. She's back. And she left the house today because to go to work, and the house was locked. I was like, oh. But it's okay. We figured out a way to get in, and everything was all right. Otherwise, there would be no live stream today at all, which would have been sort of crappy.
All the badness.
Yeah, this morning we had to wait for the Russian to track down the key. So I call the Russian. I'm like, I don't have the key for the studio. I forgot my keys today. How do we get in? And Russian's like, oh yeah, Esther has a key. I'm like, okay, she's probably not in yet, but I'll try giving her a call, find out how far away she is. So the Russian's not at work yet, and he's like, well, yeah, get it from Esther. I'm like, okay. So I try to call Esther, can't get through. She probably had like 10 missed calls from me by the end of it. I checked with the warehouse manager. Nope, apparently he gave the only key to the Russian who claims Esther has it. So finally, I call up the Russian. I'm like, do you know if Esther's recording like an ad spot at a radio station or something like that today? Is she coming in? And Russian's like, no, she should be in. I'm like, okay, well, I can't get in touch with her. And the Russian's like, oh, well, okay, I guess if you can't get in touch with her, there's a key on my desk. So this is 45 minutes later. I'm like, Russian, you didn't think to maybe tell me there was a key on your desk the first time I called and said I can't get into the office. I'm like, guys,
We were there for like half hour, 45 minutes. That
45
all took
at least.
about at least 45 minutes.
yeah, with us just like with all of our gear, like sitting outside the door of the studio waiting to go in and film.
Unable to actually do anything.
Although we shot some pretty cool stuff today. Not that I'm going to give any teasers or hints or anything like that, but, you know. Yeah, we shot some pretty cool stuff today to do with some pretty cool products. Actually, I think almost everything we shot today was unreleased.
Is that thing?
I think the new APUs are available. You can buy them, but like there's no reviews or anything like that. So we shot videos about a bunch of really cool stuff today, and
I wasn't sure if it was even out of embargo. That's why I was like, that thing?
I have no idea. It's kind of related to Xbox One, which is going to be our anchor topic today. That's going to be most of our discussion today. It's either extremely exciting or extremely disappointing, depending on which side of the fence you sit on the issue. I haven't seen too many people who sit on the I'm thrilled about Xbox One side of the fence. Do you know where the remote control keyboard is?
No.
Okay.
Awesome start.
Yeah, we're off to a good start.
It's not. Did you check here?
Yeah, I checked there.
That's
Hey,
not
B-roll,
good.
do you think you can try and find it? Do you know what it looks like? You don't know what it looks like? That can't be helping. No, that's actually not it. Here, Slick holds this up. He's like, is this it?
Well, I know it's not it, but
Oh.
we can use it, can we not?
It's just a number pad.
Yeah, don't you switch scenes with number pad?
Oh, no. I need it as like a mouse
Oh,
and stuff.
okay.
It's okay. It's okay, don't worry about it, don't worry about it.
I'll just...
I thought you honestly thought I could use this as like an
No.
air mouse.
No.
I was like, are you high?
No.
Okay, let's just use
Crazy
this. So why don't we do a little bit of Twitter Q&A just for fun, because everybody loves the Twitter Q&A. Connect. All right, there we go. Gotta say, awesome forum. Got me a decent gaming laptop and recommendations for lots of games. Wicked. We love the forum too. Luke says, let's not talk about Xbox One. I'm not sure if that's because Luke is sick of hearing about Xbox One, or if Luke is so depressed by all the things that are going on with Xbox One that he just doesn't want to talk about it and doesn't want to think about it. Well, one way or another, everyone will know sort of how they feel about it pretty soon, because we're going to go through the full pros and cons list of Xbox One versus PS4, as well as just sort of our general take on how we feel about all that stuff. Joshua asks, how come we got rid of the intro where I fell down in the box and then popped out? We've needed a new intro for a while. It's just dated. And Diesel the Intern, if you follow him on Twitter, has actually been tweeting some of the draft intros that we're working on right now, some of which actually look pretty freaking cool. So it's, yeah, very, very exciting. I have no idea where I'd even find that file or I could play it for you guys.
If you somehow went to his Twitter, it should be fairly recent. Oh, you mean, okay, locally.
Yeah, I can just find it locally, right? Because there's...
His file structure is...
I think he calls it Brain Wrinkle or something is his...
His file structure is so weird.
I know, it's like, that's his job security, like, strategy, is make sure that no one can...
find anything ever.
Find anything.
And like the output file for that big project that we did that I can't talk about, I don't think, is called SAT.
SAT?
I'm like, what? Why is it called SAT?
Seriously? This guy.
I don't think you're going to find it.
I don't think I'm going to be able to find it under one channel. No. Oh, yeah, so there's a folder called One Channel for the new YouTube channel design. So it's got one channel, and then there's like 3 folders inside it, none of which contain anything. And I'm like, so are you working on this? He's like, I don't think so. I'm like, you created a folder for it? He's like, really? well, I sure didn't.
Awesome.
Wrinkling Brains, there it is. Wrinkling Brains, general...
None of those
are it at all. I really want to show this to you guys, though, because it's really cool.
Oh,
there we go,
there we go.
RC2, so... Yay, we should add that one. Then we should remove this one. And then we're going to add the media file. So give us just one moment here. It's actually not going to take much longer. So this is one of the new concepts that's going to be in line with sort of a more clean overall branding. Seriously? So for those of you who enjoyed the music that was on our build guide, we're actually reaching out to the same artist to see if he can do something a little bit custom for us that'll go along with the new intro. So that's really exciting. Shyam asks, how are you liking the 780? I think the answer is unanimous. Yeah, and not like EA, but
yeah, like it's actually really beast.
Yeah, it's like... I mean, does it feel like a legitimate replacement high-end card? Finally.
Yeah. Because it's almost on... Oh, I don't know what angle to take with this. During my benchmarking, I was getting like, oh, wait, which numbers are this? I just ran Titan. Is this Titan? Was that Titan? No, that's actually different. And that was ran 1 minute ago. So that's definitely 780.
I mean, how upset are you if you bought a Titan at this point?
That was the thing I was... stopping myself from saying.
Really?
There is some games where you see like a 5 to 10 FPS improvement.
Yeah. I think probably the typical difference we saw was about a 10% delta,
but
or
sometimes,
like almost the same.
Yeah, with like Metro and I think Crysis 3, it was pretty much the same. I think those are the ones. I know Metro was pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Off by like 0.2 of a frame per second, which is very possibly not even accurate.
I mean, and given that this is one of the most graphically demanding games that we have access to at this point in time, Metro Last Light, it's pretty cool to see how close it is, especially given that it's several $100s cheaper. The only real difference, I mean, an interesting angle that Anantech took on it is that, well, Titan wasn't a gaming card. It was a professional, it was like a prosumer card. It was like this in-between where it was like you had great gaming performance, you had full double precision compute performance, but not quite, you don't get virtualization or any of the other really cool stuff that the K-series Tesla GPUs do. And that is where 780 does differ, it has crippled compute performance. So there you go. I mean, CUDA is still going to be fine, but you're not going to have that double precision floating point that was enabled on Titan. So Titan is still this like, it's great for developers.
Surprisingly cheap workstation card.
Surprisingly inexpensive like development card for all kinds of crazy CUDA stuff. And yeah, I mean, 780 will still be able to perform really well in like consumer grade CUDA applications, but when you're talking double precision, it's not going to have that same capability. And so apparently that's worth a few $100, and I'd say, yeah, it probably is.
Honestly, it could be worth more than that.
Could be worth more than that. I mean, many of the press were surprised at how inexpensive Titan was, given that they had unlocked that capability. Have B-roll set up the camera every day. Yeah, that probably isn't going to be a problem, especially once we move to the new place. The organization of everything we do should actually be better.
One thing we didn't even take into account is it'll take us longer to get to the new place.
Yeah. So we'll probably have to leave earlier in the day.
We like have to have it at 4:30.
Yeah, and the stream will have to be 4:30.
Because we're actually already leaving pretty early in the day.
Hugh McDonald says, "Patience, I've been sitting on your Twitch page for 5 hours waiting for it to start." Really?
Sit on the forum for 5 hours.
Yeah, go
And
hang out
then
on the
move to the
forum,
Twitch
and
page.
then do this. Okay, so why don't we move into our first topic for the week? Let's bring up the Google Drive here. And wow, there's a lot of stuff this week. Holy crap. So this is
For a limited time.
Whoops, wrong thing. Actually, you know what? We should do... Wait, what?
What are you doing?
Okay, I don't know what scene this is or why it's there. This is a problem. So, remove, add screen region, this screen, and boom. There we go. Okay, but first we should do a word from our sponsors. Yay! Back in just a moment.
For a limited time only, buy an Intel Core i5 or Core i7 CPU and get a free 3-month subscription to iRacing.com. Available from participating retailers. Click the link in the video description for more details.
And we're back after I cycle through all the scenes. It's totally throwing me for a loop that I don't have my remote control. That's just terrible. But yeah, so our first news item of the week, pizza on Mars. So NASA has thrown... Oh, this will be handy. I should move this over here. Yes. So I can actually read my notes while I show you the article. So NASA has issued a $125,000 grant to the same guys that brought us the chocolate printer in order to develop, saying, yes, we're trying to develop pizza on Mars. It's just a way of saying that we're trying to develop 3D printable food in a way that is nutritious enough and palatable enough, and pizza happens to be... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, if you think about it, it's a pie.
Yes.
So you can have whatever you want on it. So it's a very good base to start with.
Yes.
And being able to sensationalize it by saying pizza
Yes.
might bring more media attention and possibly even more funding.
So printing basically what makes pizza fascinating is the fact that you can print it in layers. So you can print the crust and then the tomato sauce or whatever, synthesized tomato sauce or what, ketchup? 3D printer that's loaded with nothing but like ketchup and... Okay, never mind. This can't be good. So a 3D printer that goes, okay, crust, tomato paste, and then like protein layer.
Yeah.
And then so it's very 3D printable. So it'll be able to print with just one print head, and then there'll also be a heating element involved that could make this thing. So the idea is that for long-term space missions, I think they're asking for 15-year shelf life for anything to take with them. And the creators are saying that you could expect up to almost a 30-year shelf life, 25, 30 years out of these powdered components, that it would be just kind of like add water, add oil, and get food with the synthesizer. Help me.
Nope.
Synthesizer. There we
go. This brings something up that's very interesting. I don't know if I've even talked to you about this, and it's definitely not in our document prep, so I'll try and...
Oh, okay, because
make
I
it
wasn't quite
easy.
done with the 3D printed pizza yet.
No, we're still on this topic.
Oh, good, okay, carry on.
Another thing that I'm fairly interested in on this exact same thing, like being able to preserve it for a very long time, being able to consume just kind of one style of ingredient and still be okay, is soylent. Have I talked to you about soylent at all?
No.
There's a engineer somewhere in the States. I know he has degrees in a few things. And he's come up with this solution called Soylent, which is a whole bunch of different... Okay, I might say some things wrong here because I haven't prepped this. This is just random stuff that I've been interested in and looked up. Okay. Basically, it's kind of like the Matrix thing. You know that like slop that they eat?
Yeah.
It's all the stuff your body needs.
Huh.
And it's in this drink that is just very saturated with water, and you just boom and you're fine. He's been on it for 3.5 months, I think. And he's fine. He's lost a bunch of weight. He feels more energetic. Blah, 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 blah. Like, everything's kind of improved. One thing is it tastes pretty much the same every time. But this is the only person on the development so far has been some engineer who is not interested by the taste of food and finds meals to be like taxing and waste of time. So once it maybe gets past him, maybe someone can inject flavor in it or something. But basically there is like the solution for what we need for food. And one thing that's very interesting about it is because it's just a whole bunch of chemicals basically, but when you break everything down, it's all just a whole bunch of chemicals. They can be tuned to the diet that you specifically need. So say you need more iron or something, you can just put more iron in it.
Huh.
So it can be used as your food and a dietary supplement at the exact same time.
So the application of this is obviously space travel, but I was actually, it's funny that you mentioned that the engineer couldn't be arsed to make meals and bother with eating, because I was going to say, how much you want to bet that that sales explode once there's a unit that can sit next to your computer? Because how many gamers, if they actually didn't have to move from their computer and could just press the pizza button, would not even bother to go in the freezer, take out a Hot Pocket, put it in the microwave, take it out from there, and then eat it? If you could just press the Hot Pocket button, game changer.
It just like changes the flavor of whatever and you just drink it.
Game changer.
I was even thinking, I signed up for trials. He was doing like applicants to sign up for trials. I signed up for trials because what I wanted to do was a 66% replacement. So I was thinking, I skip breakfast and lunch a lot of the time because I don't have time. Like I'm benchmarking something, I'm doing whatever, I don't want to go take a lunch. So I usually skip breakfast and lunch. So if I can just have like a big cup of something that I can just kind of carry around with me, then I would actually have breakfast and lunch, which would be way healthier than just not eating breakfast and lunch.
I mean, they've tried to do this with like, protein shakes or meal replacement shakes, but he's
doing it.
Actually doing it.
And it's actually the stuff your body needs instead of protein shakes and meal replacements, which are usually not actually what you need.
Comment from TMAR23 in the Twitch chat: take out of wrapper, place directly in toilet. I mean, why even bother digesting it at all?
What was I going to say? Yeah, so he basically just has these big bags of chemicals, and it's super cheap.
Right.
Like, super cheap.
Honestly, it's the kind of thing that I would probably do, too. Like, I am one of those people who... I mean, a lot of people are about the experience of food.
I love food, but I don't have the time for
cooking
certain meals.
Food and arranging it and making it look nice and putting it on nice dishes and putting it on the table and then sitting around and enjoying it and all these things. And, I mean, that's great. But, like you, I'm at a life stage right now where Linus Media Group is... moving
way too fast to sit in and enjoy the smell of food. Like,
so having something like this would be absolutely fantastic. So guys, yeah, we'd feel free. I hope you've been tweeting about this topic a little bit and letting us know what you think of it, because I'm not going to have time to take additional new tweets on it. Morgan Freeman is hilarious. I agree with you, I suppose. Apparently, he did eat a good meal every so often. So there's a thing.
But that's probably because he desired food, not because he needed it. He wanted a good taste or something. That's
printed pizzas, America. Well, hold on, because I mean, part of the issue, part of the whole America meme is that the food wouldn't be healthy.
And I think the idea with this is that it is healthy.
Yes.
That's why it's not the pizza that everyone automatically assumes.
Okay, so I don't see too many people talking about this too much. So let's go ahead and move on to our next major topic of the... Oh, crap. Where's the live stream outline? There it is. All right, so next up is EA is producing Wii games, but not very many.
Yeah.
So, okay, for whatever reason, it was necessary to have Their CFO, Blake Jorgensen, clarify this, and why the CFO is getting involved when their spokesman earlier... Okay, go ahead.
I know why it's a big deal. I know why they're coming out saying... Because they did come out saying they weren't doing Wii games.
Yeah.
The Wii sales hike.
Okay.
I just figured that out.
Which happened first? No,
This
because I think...
announcement or
Because
Wii
this
sales
was
hike?
on... Okay, because this was on the 21st, reported by The Verge.
Okay, so maybe it was...
So it
this
was
first.
around the same time, but okay, we'll get into the Wii sales hike in a little bit here. But yeah, so they come out and they're like, because they said no games in development, whereas now CFO Blake Jorgensen is saying there are games in development, just not nearly as many as the other next generation platforms that are coming out. So, yeah. Yeah,
So
EA.
tired.
It's like left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Is we should just call it EA syndrome.
Should just start smacking each other.
Yeah, just like
Damn it!
I mean, would you buy a Wii U?
If I bought a console, I would probably buy a Wii U.
Really? Okay, tell me why.
If I'm gonna play something like a shooter or something that's very graphically intensive, I'm probably gonna want to play it on my computer.
Okay,
Even
yes.
if it's a racer, a lot of racers also come out for computer, and I can just plug a controller in.
Yeah, that's something. So many people are like, oh yeah, I play racing games on my console because of the controller.
I'm pretty stoked for Microsoft One because the controller looks cool and I can plug it into my computer.
Yeah.
And then, but with Wii, you get the experience where, like, okay, if I have a whole bunch of people sitting around the TV, I probably want to play something more fluffy and fun. Mario games.
With
whatever
that said,
else.
that was how I justified buying a Wii to myself. And have you seen me touch my Wii since we've started Linus Media Group?
Technically, yes.
Like the game console.
We played.
Not since Linus Media Group started.
Was that?
Which is like
was
5
that-
months now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
And we did, and
But
the-
I have.
and that's-
mine at home.
you have used your, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
the problem is just that I don't have friends. Okay.
But then I've also used my NES and my Super NES and my N64.
Okay.
And
right.
then the only reason why the Wii comes out is if someone wants to play a new game.
Someone wants to see it.
Or it's gonna happen. I just didn't know when.
I mean, honestly, like, given the opportunity that they had to change the branding of the Wii, like, given what just a catastrophically stupid name Wii was, why did they call it Wii U? Like, really?
I don't know, so I can't answer.
It's just terrible. I mean,
They were
okay.
also probably scared of breaking the branding too much. But then bring it back to NES.
I mean, honestly, and still, like, Wii U, I wouldn't use one if someone gave it to me. And there's more reasons for that than just, like, casual games versus hardcore games or whatever else. I mean,
Take the time frame away. Why?
because the controller's stupid.
But don't they have normal controllers as well?
You could still use a classic controller, but if I was still going to use a classic controller, like, how many other solutions are there? I mean, the whole selling point of Wii U is it's got a screen on it. The problem with putting a screen on it is that the ergonomics are terrible. I mean, if I had to complain about something about the Razer Edge, which is Razer's gaming tablet, it's a 10.1-inch tablet, it's that for me, with my shoulder span, with my shoulder width, I found I was in a bit of an awkward position to use the thing. Other than that, it's a really cool device. IPS panel, it's got a GeForce graphics card that's much better than anything on board. Like, it's actually kind of cool. Battery life could be better, but for me, the ergonomics were funny, and I found it was much the same with the Wii U. Even standing there in a big box store, playing with it for like 3 minutes, I'm like, oh, yeah, this isn't comfortable. Because maybe it's just because I'm used to using a controller like this.
Maybe.
I mean, what is it?
Well, there's the same thing with keyboards. One of the purest ideas with keyboards, the reason why these kind of exist, is because the idea is that a full width keyboard isn't proper shoulder span. So you're adjusting in an angle, and if you have
Okay.
a 10 keyless, you can go straight forward. So your mouse can be straightforward, and your hands can be fairly straightforward, except for a pivot here.
Right.
And then the number pad can be on the right side, because you're not going to use it much. For me, that doesn't matter. My shoulder span's like
pretty
Whatevs.
wide.
The mouse is exactly where it needs to be. And again, for the Edge, it was fine. But then at the same time, Edge is a little bit heavy. So
Right.
if I wanted to use it, my elbows are planted.
We've got some pretty good debate going on in the Twitch chat already. About how ignorant the internet is and how Xbox One is not just about the entertainment aspect, and of course it'll be games and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that'll come out on...
Don't worry, we're going to talk about that, folks. We're going to talk about that. So let's move into our next discussion topic, because we're already a third of the way through the live stream. We've talked about two things. So this is something that we did want to have a little conversation about. So last week, it came out that some of the U.S. regulating bodies are freezing accounts of Mt. Gox, and there's going to be a lot of different regulations that are going to come in place because they're treating Bitcoin exchanges like full-fledged financial institutions. So they're putting basically some roadblocks in place, such as that they have to adhere to money laundering prevention laws, as well as things like anti-terror funding laws. They have to have a lot of transparency. The anonymity is going to go away. And apparently Canadian regulators, according to the article on the Register, are basically going, yep, come on into Canada. Yay, go Canada. We do not see you as, I forget what the actual terminology is, but blah, 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 claiming it was... so in the U.S., they were claiming that Mt. Gox was operating as an unlicensed money service business, whereas, this letter from the Canadian authorities said your entity is not at this time engaged as a money services business in Canada, as per the proceeds of the crime, money laundering, and terrorist financing and its associated regulations. So in fact, your entity doesn't provide the services of remitting and or transferring funds for the sake of the service. The transfer of funds is simply a corollary of your actual service of buying and selling virtual currency. Therefore, you do not have to register your entity with us. Very, very interesting. So this is, it's good news for Americans too, because I can't think of any particular reason why they wouldn't be able to use a Canadian exchange. And, you'd have the additional trust factor of Canadians are awesome. No, okay, guys, don't put all your money in a Canadian Bitcoin exchange because Linus said Canadians.
They might say they're sorry when they steal it, though.
Yeah, so that's, all of this is so in flux right now. The news is coming so fast and so hard that, even if something happens in the U.S., if everyone else just kind of goes completely the other way on it, the U.S. will have to figure out how to get in line. So
one kind of key phrase segment I got from that too, though, is your entity is not at this time.
At this time. And that's the other thing, is where the U.S. might have to backpedal, Canada might follow suit with the U.S. at some point. Who freaking knows? But this virtual currency thing is not going away. That much is very clear. I'm still not putting any of my money into it, but we'll see.
I guess we shouldn't talk about Bitcoins too much, but if you guys are interested in how Bitcoins can actually totally not be profitable at all, you should probably go post on the forum and figure that out.
Yeah. So this is cool. Australian authorities used their 3D printer technologies to print a couple of liberators. So this is... Shoot, I keep doing that. This is that gun blueprint that, the U.S. was like, don't download this. We are banning this from the internet because
And then everyone downloaded it.
that is how the internet works. America. So there's torrents all over the place for this, obviously. And so the Australians kind of went, okay, well, let's print a couple and see what the heck happens. So there were two results of the two guns that they printed. One of them was able to fire a projectile. I think it was 17 centimeters through a simulated flesh object. So that would be fatality inducing. Obviously, anything that can go 17 centimeters into a body can probably go through you unless you are a super obese kind of person. Could you have 17 centimeters of fat in one
I
place?
think that's slightly more than that, actually. That's about a foot.
17 centimeters. Yeah, you could probably
okay,
have
yeah,
centimeters,
less
because a foot or 30
You could
centimeters is about
definitely have
this.
17 centimeters. And what if you get shot slightly on the side, or if it enters here and goes on an angle?
Yeah, okay.
Like, it's not going to be perfectly straight on.
But
as
you
well.
could kill someone with something that penetrated 17 centimeters
Oh,
into
you
their
could
body.
kill someone that penetrates way less than that.
Okay, yeah, if you're a perfect shot. But like the odds of killing them, you'd go
It's
for a
much
torso
higher
shot.
because it's probably going to go all the way through.
So one of the guns was able to fire deep enough for a fatality. The other one died outright. So if you check out the article on the Register, then yeah, there is a video, and you can definitely check that out. It's very interesting because the U.S. is basically going, oh, this is impossible to regulate, this and this and this and that, and it might all be true. I mean, the future of personal defense weapons could be, who knows? I mean, 3D printers could be consumer grade at some point. Probably will be consumer grade at some point.
Kind of already are.
Right? I mean, at what point does someone mod their, okay, so if they ban resins strong enough to fire projectiles, or if they find some way to regulate it in some way, how long before someone synthesizes and mods a way to make their 3D printing pizza oven turn into something that can produce a gun? Why not?
It'll be way too easy. Like, you actually can't, because resins are so easy to mix as well. And they're used for so many other things that
Yes.
you can't just ban them outright. You can just go to the store and be like, oh, I'm buying this resin for whatever, take it home and print a gun. Who cares? And one thing that's interesting too is it's pretty easy as far as I can tell, especially in the
Twitch
States.
chat's suggesting they make a pizza gun.
Yes.
That's Murica.
Oh my god. That way if someone's hungry and you have the pizza gun, you can just like be like,
It's like, well, this is how we're bringing democracy to the world.
projectile pizza.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. You were saying something that was much more important than pizza gun.
Imagine you're at a riot and everyone's shooting pizza guns. And there's
It's
just
like,
like pizza
everybody
falling
needs
all
to
over the
just
place.
calm down, have a pizza. Just calm down.
At big events, you know how they have shirt cannons?
Oh,
You'd have pizza
wow.
cannons.
So, you know what? Here's clothing for all and food for all. We're going to solve the poverty issue like 2 guns at a time.
Artillery cannon pizzas over Africa from ships.
If you could fire a projectile hard enough, could you save on the cost of actually shipping things by ocean freight
like-
if you created target zones that you could just aim like aid supplies at?
And then just like, okay, between this hour and this hour of the day, do not enter because of falling projectiles. Other than that, enter because of pizza.
I think we've gone off on a bit of a tangent
If
here.
9 to 5, enter
If
free
9 to
pizza.
5, enter-
If not 9 to 5, leave. Death.
And that, you know what? That would be the kind of war that I could get into. Is one where everyone's just kind of firing food at each other. Is like, if we're going to spend billions of dollars producing like, sending soldiers all over the place, you know what? Why don't we just fire food at everyone? You'd be the most popular country on earth.
Last country standing because everyone gets too obese.
Yes. I mean, they'd almost need like a revision to the Geneva Convention. So it's all like no biological warfare, no chemical warfare, no obesity warfare.
Yeah.
Because you could roll in with the food weapons, and then once everyone's too fat to fight back, then you roll in with the real weapons, you clean up.
Yep. Listen, America. $10,000 for a patent.
Yeah, and even though, okay, I probably shouldn't be all like Murica and make fun of Americans, but you technically have an American citizenship, am I right?
Yep.
So you're allowed to do it. So
Yep.
there. So for everyone who's like
America.
that jackass Canadian and his shots at America, so I'll just set them up, and then you can go for the alley oop,
Okay.
for the dunk on
Nice.
the whatever. I don't know basketball terms.
America.
That's yeah. Sure.
Oh, man.
Moving right along. This news
For a limited time only, buy an Intel Core
out loud. Sorry about that, guys.
Stop.
I keep pressing the wrong thing. This news item was submitted by B-roll. So Google is supporting the V9 video codec. Now, advantages of V9. So it's no secret that we are going to need a new video compression codec. We're going to need a new compression method. With the advent of 4K, which will effectively quadruple the amount of data in a frame, okay, in terms of sort of raw, like there are other tricks. So, okay, so raw data, it will quadruple the amount of information contained in a frame of video. We are going to need ways to compress video more. And with the way that computing power continues to progress along Moore's law, we're going to have handheld devices that are capable of 4K playback in no time. We're going to be limited by how much storage we have on these devices, and we're going to be limited by data rates through mobile as well as through just the internet in general. I mean, if all video on the internet switched to 4K tomorrow, you'd hardly be able to load a web page. There, that is my sort of outlandish statement of the day, because all the series of tubes would be completely clogged. You can think of it like tubes that are backed up. There's no... Anyway, so the point is we're going to need new codecs. So V9 is open source and backed by Google, but H.265 was poised to be the successor for H.264. So why do we need these things? Cisco is claiming that by 2016, 55% of web traffic is going to be video.
Oh yeah.
Which, honestly, I'm surprised it isn't already.
I'm surprised it isn't more.
I'm surprised they're not predicting more, because video is going to become more and more huge. I mean, you look at the news, I think it was a few weeks ago.
Are they including gaming as video?
Because it basically will be.
But it's not yet, which might be why it's lower than we expected.
But with cloud-based gaming, which isn't going to hit by 2016.
No.
But with cloud-based gaming, that would basically be video. If all the processing's done on one side, we might be looking, if all gaming content was reclassified as video.
That'd be absurd.
I mean,
and this won't be for like ever.
Yes, this will be in a while. But we could be looking at a completely different situation. So, okay, so anyway, so Cisco says 55% of web traffic will be video by 2016, and I think that might even be conservative, given you look at some of the other content studios that are coming up again, going, crap, who was it? Was it Warner that pulled a whole bunch of titles from Netflix's license?
That was Warner.
Was it Warner? Yeah. So, and then they launched their own video streaming service, so you're going to be looking at so much broader of a content base that's available to stream online as long as you have the appropriate subscriptions. Couple that with gaming, okay, the file size has got to be smaller because the resolutions are getting bigger and the content's going like this. However, oh yeah, and it reduces storage needs for cloud companies as well. Actually, one of the videos we shot today that is embargoed is a storage product that is going to help alleviate that, but isn't going to fix it immediately.
Careful. Not the wrong scene.
Not the wrong scene. Okay. So what are the challenges? And when we have a video codec war, what goes down? Well, first of all, there's going to be the video nerds like B-roll, who's I'm gesturing towards, but he's not actually sitting there. There's going to be the video nerds like B-roll that are going to go, okay, well, I spot a slightly...
and that will matter. I'm going to be on his side.
And that will matter. Okay, yes, that will matter. Ultimately, whether one codec gets supported or another codec gets supported will come down to image quality. And it'll be more than just image quality, because it's not always about straight image quality. I mean, this is a debate that we have internally here at Linus Media Group.
Which never ends.
Which never ends. I mean, it's more for the entertainment now. But how many FPS is optimal? I would argue more FPS equals more information to my eyes per second is better. But you've got B-roll and Diesel on the other side saying, well, for the cinematic feel, 24 FPS is still king. A lot of people said Hobbit at 48 felt uncomfortable, even though they weren't quite sure why, to which my rebuttal is, most of the people who realized they were going to see Hobbit at 48 FPS probably knew they were watching it at FPS, and in a blind taste test with someone like my mom, she probably wouldn't have even noticed.
And see, we both agree on this, but we're gamers. So we're gamers, not film nerds.
Yes.
So, I don't know, that might be part of it as well.
And we're used to higher frame rates.
Yeah. So, one thing that you bring up all the time is the mountain pass shot.
Yes.
So, explain the mountain pass
Yes.
shot.
So, when you're panning a mountain range, okay, and you have like the mountains in the foreground and like the party of adventurers, traveling along a meadow.
Everyone probably knows what shot this is.
Everyone's seen this shot. They had it in, what was that last movie I watched? Can't remember. Star Trek, where there's like something in the foreground. I think it's Yes, as Scotty is coming up on the secret installation, and he's
haven't seen
going
it
around.
yet.
And he's going around. Oh,
Well, you shouldn't be worried about spoilers for me. You should be worried about spoilers for all
sorry,
of
guys.
them.
Spoiler alert. Whatever. Someone's going around some celestial body for some reason. Don't worry about it. And you can see this thing, and it's like ching, 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 as it goes over. So when something's in the foreground, it looks so gross. More frames is more better. But
Apparently not.
the actual content makers are going to be the ones who are going to dictate what format they like. And they are so tightly involved in the studio, with the studios and with the guys that have the actual budget, and the guys who are going to be guys like Sony, who both develop content and develop things like Blu-ray standards, all of this kind of stuff, that that'll be a huge dictating factor. Processing power is going to be a thing, because it's going to suddenly become much more demanding. The more you compress something, you might be able to maintain the quality. You might be able to compress it down to the point where it's much, much smaller, but it's going to take that much more processing power in real time to actually play back these files. And we're not just talking about desktop computers. Desktop computers could probably play back 4K content compressed in whatever the heck you want today. Yeah, it's not... But people are going to want to enjoy this content on their phones, and they're going to want to enjoy it over their data connection. So processing power is going to be a thing. Now, there are ways of getting around processing power, and many microprocessors these days, including things like GPUs or CPUs, include dedicated H.264 decoding hardware. So when you include the dedicated hardware, what you do is you alleviate the power consumption, and by making more specialized hardware for it, it's much more efficient. But that is the biggest challenge of all. And that is why H.264 is not going anywhere for a really long time, because it is so deeply entrenched. I mean, we are finally getting to the point where NVIDIA with the GTX 780 is talking about shadow play, which is going to leverage that built-in H.264 encoder on the GPU to allow you to record your gameplay videos without much of a performance hit. H.264 has been around how long? And we are finally fully leveraging the hardware and finally able to roll out features across a product line, because it's been long enough that NVIDIA doesn't have to go, oh, and by the way, you can only use the latest GPU that costs $600.
Yeah.
Finally, we're there. I mean, neither of these formats is even one, so I can tell you right now, nobody is designing hardware decoders for them yet. Nobody's even working on it. Not only that, but the dev cycle and production cycle and validation cycle of all that, plus the fact that it'll have to be deep in the product line before you can even consider using it for anything that isn't plugged into a wall, means we're a really long way off. But either way, there you go. That's my take on it. And this story didn't end up going anywhere. Yeah, we need a meme of that. It's like, slick, H.265. Why are we talking about this? Well, I don't know. I think it's interesting. So, screw you.
I remembered something while you were talking that was fairly important, but I already don't. Oh yeah, Shadowplay. We should talk about Shadowplay.
Yes, we should talk about Shadowplay. Shadowplay is awesome.
Shadowplay's amazing. I'm
That's it.
so excited.
That's all I
about
want to talk
Shadowplay.
about.
Is that all we're? That's all we're.
No, I'm
covering?
kidding. You can talk about
Okay.
Shadowplay.
So-
Okay, I'll hold up. I'll be your Vanna White.
So basically, not just with newer cards, it's all Kepler architecture, right? Just
Anything with
making
an
sure.
H.264 encoder, as far as I know.
Oh.
That should go further back.
Wow, okay, that's cool. Anything with H.264 encoder can record 20 minutes of gameplay consistently. So you will always have 20 minutes of gameplay as you go along. It'll just remove the old stuff and record more new stuff. And then, so if you find something that you really like, you can say tab or whatever and save that shot. There's a manual mode, but we don't know enough about it. We don't actually have it yet. So there's apparently a manual mode.
Yeah.
What I'm hoping is that while you're going along, if something cool happens, you can activate it, but then it'll have the little bit from before as well. So you won't miss, say there's like a really, really intense, like 2-minute firefight, but then there's going to be a little bit after, and you have like a breather where you can reload or whatever. You can sit there, press the manual mode to make sure that you get the whole segment, but then you have the little bit from before as well.
Like if you could
hoping
have,
that's how
if
it
you could
works.
have Shadowplay running as a constant buffer, like
Then
a
you
constant
always
cache,
have 20 minutes.
then you'd always have, and you can set how much you want.
Up to 20.
Up to 20 minutes in its current implementation. I think that's more just to keep from it taking up like too much space
Yeah,
and running into
honestly,
weird issues.
yeah.
Because I don't see any reason why it couldn't be more than that.
No.
So Shadowplay will be constantly dumping out past 20 minutes and filling in the new stuff as you go. But if you could make it so you could be like, because, okay, the way slow motion works on our FS700 is you can have a start trigger, which is like, okay, something cool is about to happen, press the button, and then it records. You can have an end trigger, which means the buffer on the camera is constantly recording. You can go, oh, something cool just happened, boom, capture what just happened. Or you can be somewhere in the middle, which is a middle trigger, which records the little bit of time before that and the little bit of time after. And I think that's what you're talking about, where
That's
you could
what
have
I hope.
different triggering events that would allow you to use. And I mean, NVIDIA's not even releasing Shadowplay at all in its first iteration until sometime in the summer, they're saying.
Yeah.
And they're not talking about future features, and they're not talking about this, but imagine if you could use it for live streaming.
Oh my goodness. Like, the whole thing's so cool. I know there's a manual mode where there's no time cap. So if you tell it specifically, like, I want you recording this, you can record whole, like, League of Legends or StarCraft matches or whatever.
And if you could have programs like Twitch just accept Shadowplay as an input, and they're talking maybe a 5% performance hit, which is enough.
Nothing compared to Fraps.
Nothing compared to Fraps, nothing compared to a lot of the solutions that are out there. I mean, this is so cool. This could be a game changer. Companies like AverMedia must be just devastated to hear about this, where their whole solution is an H.264 encoder on a card. If every GeForce GPU out there is all of a sudden capable of doing what that card does,
A big thing for AverMedia, though, is taking
Console.
it from console.
console, you're right. I realized that.
Yeah.
Console, so there's that. But
Their internal solution, they're probably not too excited about. Although you can still accept console with their internal, like, I don't know, but still.
yeah.
It'll probably do a hit. They probably won't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll kill them.
Yeah, so the StarCraft guys might not care, but all of a sudden there will be a compelling reason to buy a GeForce GPU beyond just how many FPS you get in game X or Y.
Because while GeForce Experience is cool,
Yeah, so that's out of beta now, so it gives you suggested settings for your games and makes sure your drivers are always up to date. Carry on.
while it's cool, I do know a lot of people do actually just like playing with their settings. And a
Yes.
lot of games auto-detect anyways.
I personally prefer to change my own settings.
So do I.
And I personally prefer to download my own driver because sometimes newer drivers don't improve things.
Yeah.
And sometimes
And
they make
sometimes it will improve things for a lot of cards, but not yours.
or a lot of games, but not the one you play, those
Yeah,
kinds of things.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Moving along to our next topic, we've got, yes, Intel claiming up to 50% more battery life in Haswell-based laptops. So it's no secret that Haswell isn't going to bring a huge, like, game-changing performance shift on the desktop. This is not a Conroe. Because a lot of the optimizations are going to be in terms of power efficiency and in terms of delivering a better gaming experience on the entry level, as well as a better graphics experience, a better performance for things that are compute driven that use the graphics core, such as Intel's QuickSync technology that allows you to use the GPU to transcode media much faster, so things like that. So they're looking to deliver a better overall experience, not necessarily like, oh, let's throw more IPC at the problem on the CPU side itself. So with 50%, what would you do with 50% more battery life in your laptop?
Right. More laptop stuff. What I think the main thing it's going to affect is,
Ultrabook.
yeah, mass longevity. So if you're in school for 8 hours,
Yes.
that's going to be a huge hit.
Yeah.
If you game on your laptop but can't always have it plugged in, huge hit. Because I know a lot of people that have nice gaming laptops and they're like, yeah, but when I'm gaming, it lasts for 45 minutes.
On the other hand, Haswell's power efficiency isn't going to affect how much juice that 680M is drawing.
That's true.
So you might see, if you're going to
It'll
see...
still help, though.
So I think when Intel quotes something like this, they're talking integrated
It's
GPU.
power draw.
Yeah.
Or that, yeah.
They're talking what can be achieved if you don't have a bunch. Actually, that's one of the things I have in how I wanted to discuss this,
Right.
is it's not like this is going to be the be-all and end-all of your laptop that has 4-hour battery life now has 6 hours.
Okay, still, though, you can still play a lot of games on laptops that don't have
That's true.
whatever.
Especially given that Intel's also claiming, this is also in my notes, 2 times the performance of Ivy Bridge on notebooks,
Right.
and up to 3 times on a desktop with the new Haswell built-in iGPU.
Integrated. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So the way that I see this shaping up is, okay, so this Ultrabook is actually, I think, technically not an Ultrabook because it doesn't meet the battery life requirements to be called an Ultrabook, if I recall correctly. So that's why it ships with this extended battery, because it only gets about 4 hours of battery life without the extended battery. If this thing got 6 hours of battery life, this is the device Intel's talking about. A super slim tablet or Ultrabook style notebook or a convertible that's running Intel hardware, Intel LAN, Intel CPU, Intel GPU, all those things. They're saying, okay, yes, we can deliver up to 50% more battery life with it. If this thing got 6 hours, I wouldn't need the extended battery pack anymore. And so I'm extremely excited. Not only that, but Haswell will offer better performance.
Yeah.
Which is extremely cool. Haswell's also going to get a lot closer to what tablets, what existing tablet architectures are able to deliver. So the lowest power draw Haswell is, they're saying 7 watts, which makes...
Is beast.
Okay.
Wait, not beast?
That's beast. 7 watts?
But beast as in...
Well,
yeah.
oh, well...
But, you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's beast as in awesome, but not beast as in like...
It's beast as in
more power.
It's beast as in like cat beast, not beast as in like
Cat beast.
like not bear.
Like quiet and efficient.
Yeah,
I don't know how efficient cats are.
not very efficient.
If they were efficient, why would they need
They
to
wouldn't
sleep 18
all the
hours a
time.
day? Yeah.
I don't know where I'm taking this analogy.
Yeah, I think...
I'll just stop.
Why don't you just comb it with a brick and we'll call it a day. So part of what's making Haswell more efficient is the fact that it has an on-chip power management unit as well as onboard VRM. And there's also the fact that because it's faster and it has faster internal interconnects, it is able to spend more time idling. And Intel is saying up to 20 times the efficiency or battery life improvement or something ridiculous like that when it is not doing anything. So the more often this chip can be not doing anything, the better it is for you. I mean, imagine what something like a Razer Edge or a Razer Blade is going to look like with Haswell, or even the next generation where, who knows, if they 2x the graphics performance again, what does something like a Razer Edge? You won't even need a dedicated GeForce GPU anymore.
We talk about a lot. We talk about, oh, I'm excited for this release of a product. Like AR Drone, you've brought up more than once. I'm excited for version whatever.
Version 6 of AR Drone will be silent, and it'll be like 1080p,
carry more,
and it'll
awesome
record
camera,
sound, and
only
it'll
4K, whatever.
and it'll have like a 2-kilometer range, and
a lot of things I'm excited for future versions. Maybe not way into it right now. Edge. Once that platform has matured, holy cow,
Gen
be
2,
cool.
Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, holy crap. When it's like slim and has killer performance and runs quiet and has great battery life and you know what? Here's my commitment right now. I will drop $2,000 on a revision of AR Drone that allows me to sit in front of a computer with like a joystick and fly at POV.
Oh.
On like a field with other people with like virtual reality games that like you can set it
that would be so cool.
Okay, if you could have a hardcore mode for AR drone dogfights that was like it knocks the other guy's AR drone out of the air. Because there's no safe place, because if you're close to the ground, you can actually have more disastrous crashes than if you're high up and you can control the fall. Whereas if you're higher up in the air, you're going to hit that much harder.
There should be actual projectiles, so it can hit the propellers.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
It could be like Nerf.
Oh. Or like if it had sensors all over the drone, so that you could actually
Lasers.
you could fire. I'm firing my laser, so you could knock out like one motor.
You should be able to like Samus charge up, so it hits a wider area.
And then like the pilot could compensate by like redirecting less power to this one and more power to these ones, and they could try to bring it down, but you could come in for the kill shot, and if you could knock out another motor,
oh my goodness, that'd be so cool.
Oh, it'd be so cool. You could knock out their weapon systems.
That
and,
would increase their market share too, because if you're smashing your air drone, they sell parts.
Yep. If you could,
or not market share. But,
and if that was
revenue.
like if you could have like a non-hardcore mode where it just keeps score, but if you could have hardcore mode where I basically go, look, Slick, let's go. We pull out the AR drones. You take like your laptop or your tablet or whatever. You hook up like your. Oh my God!
Oculus Rift.
You hook up your Oculus, okay? You hook up your joystick and you go fly against each other.
Oh my goodness, that would be so cool.
I mean, that'll happen in our lifetimes.
So
Think
stoked.
about that.
So stoked.
How much money would you pay for that gaming experience?
That would be probably what you would. Because that's insane.
Would you pay thousands of dollars for this?
Probably.
I would.
I'd save up for a long time, like make sure, and I would like come up. I would like, okay, here's my aerodrone. Here's my like multiple boxes of spare parts.
Yes.
Let's rock.
I would roll up to the field with like my gear,
A truck.
and like the hardcore guy is gonna build like a flight chamber with like friggin' everything.
He's gonna bring one of those big batteries that whoever's making. Those big
Yes.
like pallet batteries, so that he can power his full station.
for like the entire day
Yeah.
of like flying and you'll show up with like your super organized like your drawers of like replacement parts for your drone so you could play
Yeah.
hardcore mode
Yeah.
all day.
You get taken down, you and your buddy that you were just
Yeah.
playing with, like repair a bar, throw it back up,
Multiple models of drones so you could have like capital ship drones.
light and nimble, capital
Think
ship.
about that.
Oh my god.
Armored drone, okay? Armored drone. So the sensors,
Oh.
the sensors have multiple. So like one sensor
Right.
spot could take multiple hits
Right.
before it actually turns off an engine.
You could have scenarios because you could have like
know!
carrier drones that have a whole bunch of smaller ones.
Yes.
And maybe the smaller ones only have a certain flight time before they have to go dock
Yes.
and then re-go out. Or they have ammo or something.
Or you bring in bombers. So fighters
Bombers.
shoot lasers only. But if you could bring in bombers that are basically slow and need to be defended by fighters, but can drop crap on like capital ships that cause big problems. Like this could be tabletop games,
But real.
but on a football field. Think about that.
That could even get competitive. Now that you brought up football fields.
Oh yes.
Like serious
this
competitive.
could be the next generation of esports. Augmented reality esports.
Oh, that would be so cool. So cool.
And there's no reason why if we can build AR drone, why we can't build with robotics advancing at the rate it is. If you could have robotic
It would turn into
soldiers,
custom- No, you could with the bomber that you brought up. I was thinking ground combat as well.
ground combat as well.
Yeah.
This is the future of gaming.
That
This
would be
is what
so
I will launch full force back into gaming once they can deliver this experience because screw physics engines.
Honestly.
Why do you need them
real-life
anymore?
physics, whatever.
Or with physics engines, you could have augmented reality such that the soldiers could be, oh wow, you could be knocked over by a nearby explosion that was caused by, a dud,
laser drop.
by a laser drop.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
Like guys, like how exciting would this be? And the technology is not that far away.
Yeah. My goodness. Oh my goodness.
Someone says, how much longer is this? I hope they're talking about the live stream and not us just geeking out about this.
No, I think they might be talking about how long until that comes out.
I don't know, but
Hopefully.
I hope
Hopefully
this is
everyone
coming.
else is excited for this
Yeah.
as we are.
Hopefully everyone else is willing to drop as much money as it takes to make this happen. Speaking of dropping as much money as it takes, AT&T is adding a 61-cent per month administrative fee to wireless bills. Stands to rake in hundreds of millions from unwitting customers.
I don't.
Why does AT&T need more money? So
Every corporation just wants more money.
on the one hand, I look at it and I go, okay, it's 61 cents a month. Can I afford the additional $6.70 whatever cents a year, whatever it works out to, $7 and whatever?
But that's the idea.
But that's the idea.
No one's gonna quit, or not very many people will actually quit.
And it's only certain plans, but with 70 million, with a 70 million user install base, AT&T stands to rake in an additional $500 million almost of additional revenue that they have done absolutely nothing to earn from you by altering an agreement that you didn't agree to pay the 61 cents. You know what? That was all I really had to say about this, other than just how mad I am about the way that monopolies and duopolies are able to just do whatever they want. Why is this permitted?
One thing from Windspeed on the forum, apparently Australia's biggest telco charges you a $2 fee to pay any bill in any form. So whether you pay it in the store, whether you pay it online, over the phone, anything.
So there's a fee if you
$2
don't pay. There's a fee if you pay. I mean,
There's
here,
probably a fee if you leave.
I'm not gonna. There's a fee for activation.
There's a fee for activation, there's a fee if you leave, there's a fee if you stay, there's a fee if you pay your bill, there's a fee if you don't pay your bill.
It's like, well, how else are we supposed to pay our administrative fees? How about my monthly bill? What is that paying for? Because it's not paying for
Seriously.
infrastructure upgrades, that's for sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
Australia, slow internet.
yeah.
Man.
I mean, here's me geeking out again, but what if we could have a cloud-based telco? Think about this.
What?
Okay, because part of the problem is we can't lease, you can't lease wireless spectrum unless you're a big player, right? Okay. So what if people could build little towers on their property using a different area of the spectrum, and what if a city could get together and go, look, we know that you're basically going to have to roam if you go outside the city, but if we could get 2,000 people within the city to put little towers in their back lawns, and we could make our own cloud-based network, it could run over the internet, so it could be IP-based. What would prevent something like that from existing other than the management of it?
Management of it.
Okay, so management of it. Someone would have to develop the actual hardware that's involved.
Someone has to develop the hardware, someone has to manage it.
Is it impossible?
You have to run lines.
Do you have to
I
run
think
lines?
you're talking about just Wi-Fi, right?
I'm talking about wireless to the tower, Ethernet.
But how fast is that going to be?
How fast is it? I don't know. How fast would it need to be?
With AC becoming a big thing?
I mean, well, no,
Yeah.
you'd need some. I'm not an engineer, okay? So I'm not technical
Are you
enough
talking
to know
about Y? Wireless Y? The super long range stuff?
something like that.
But that's not super fast. As you're getting far out, remember with AC, the range is getting shorter.
Yeah, no, I don't mean Wi-Fi. Forget Wi-Fi. Something else.
Okay.
Some other band. Completely different from that. So you'd have towers that are separate from what the telcos are using, separate from what the consumer grade stuff is. There's
I like the
plenty
idea.
of spectrum still.
I like the idea, but it's very utopian.
Yeah.
It's ignoring security, as the chat said, security,
Yep.
upkeep, deployment, maintenance, tons of stuff. Like, maintenance is huge.
But if you could have a turnkey solution for security, I mean, you look at what people
Turnkey solution for security.
Okay, hold on. I know. Yeah, I think the Linus Tech Tips forum is enough evidence of that. But if you could find a way to keep untrusted people off of it, okay, find a way to regulate where the data is flowing. If you could create something like this with a trusted group, maybe it's utopian, maybe it's imaginary, but I don't know.
You'd have to have a world where there's no bad people, and where nothing never.
But the
nothing ever
problem is that
degrades.
the bad people are already there, and I'm giving them $100 a month for my own cell phone. I mean, with all of that said,
That's a good point.
as far as telcos go, I'm pretty happy with Bell.
Except for how expensive it is.
Yeah, well, except for how expensive it is, but they do less to bone the consumer than most of, I mean, particularly the U.S. telcos, and then I mean the Australians as well. Anyway, so that's my sort of fantasy while I'm fantasizing. One last thing before we get into, oh wow, we are 2/3 of the way through. We haven't even started talking Xbox One. Intelliscope, because your tactical rifle totally needed an iPhone strapped to it. This is an article on Engadget, and it's awesome. It allows you to peek around corners, apply a digital zoom, you can record video, it gives you a built-in compass and a shot timer, and I mean, I'm sure this is not what Apple had in mind when they created the iPhone. Honestly, we're nowhere near something like this being actually practical. When the delay between the camera and the processing and the actual image on the screen is near instantaneous, something like that could be really cool. But yeah, we're actually not that close right now. So anyway, let's get into you know what? I'm going to get you to start Xbox One, because I need to go find out from B-roll where that pizza he ordered is, because I'm starving.
Okay, let me get down to this. So, there was a basis for a pro and con list that I found on Reddit. And I've added stuff to it. I've changed things that I don't necessarily agree are pros, or that are, I don't necessarily agree, are cons. I've moved things out of cons up to pros. I've moved things out completely. I've added in my own stuff that I found on, say, an Antex hardware review. By the way, check out an Antex hardware review of Xbox One versus PS4. It's very interesting. Xbox One is doing some crazy stuff with a caching, possibly a caching solution. PS4 just went raw power. I don't think anyone's really going to know the performance difference until it's actually released, because you can't just go A hardware is better than B hardware, because yes, we see that a little bit. PlayStation's hardware is better than Xbox One's hardware, but then Xbox One is doing that weird caching solution that I was talking about before, which might not even be a caching solution. It might be a frame buffer or something, I'm not entirely sure. But, again, PlayStation 4 will have better hardware. But it's just, how different is it? So, some of the notable pros and cons, just to jump through here pretty quick, is Xbox One will have feedback on their triggers. I find that very cool. I don't like the, I don't know what it's actually called, but completely free-flowing triggers where there's no feedback at all. I'm not a huge fan of that. Constant low power state. Very fast wake up, but it's forced and it's always monitoring. This is in both pros and cons. I'm reading through pros right now, by the way. Pros, because your Xbox can wake up really fast and start doing what you want it to. Cons, because it's kind of always on. It's not really a wake up at that point. It's literally always on. It's always monitoring, which we will get into later. I'm sure Linus will want to discuss that a little bit. Controller seems quite similar. Again, I got the basis of this pros and cons list from Reddit. This is not my pros and cons list. I added stuff, like I said, and changed it a little bit, but this was someone else's. I should have cited his name, but I don't remember it. Maybe I'll tweet it out later or something if I can go grab it. The controller is mostly the same, except it has a vastly improved D-pad. I'm very happy to see this, because if you guys have watched the after party live stream, I don't like the D-pad at all. It's way too easy to press other directions without realizing it. It's not very defined, which is, I'm happy they're improving that. That's why earlier when I said I'm excited for the controller so I can plug it into my computer, I was actually very serious. I will very possibly go out and buy one of these controllers, even though I'm probably not going to buy an Xbox One. I'm not going to buy an Xbox One because of this pro and con list. I had no intention of buying a new console, and if I was going to, it would probably be a Wii U because of the games. Okay, so use game fees is interesting. I think I'm down into bad things again. Why is that in pros? That was not supposed to be in pros. I screwed up there, my bad. Used game fees. So no one, as far as I know, really knows what's going on with this right now, but there will be fees for used games. We're just not sure how much. So people don't know if you have to pay the entire price again or what. So I'm not going to go way too into this, but there will be fees for used games, which I personally am not a fan of, because I like this small game shop idea. I love just going around Vancouver, going around wherever to small little game shops, because it's just so cool. I must be in cons already. I am in cons already. Okay, so that wasn't in the wrong spot. Just the formatting got changed. I think Linus changed the formatting a little bit. Kinect is required to use the console. It comes with the console, and it's required to run on the console all the time. Again, that monitoring thing comes into play, where you've now got it's always on, it's always monitoring, and there's always video and mic available to be monitoring. Again, I'm going to wait for Linus to really get into that.
B-roll gave them the wrong address, so I went out there just as the pizza guy was on the phone with him trying to find my place. So I brought the pizza. You know what? For those of you who don't like it when we eat on the live stream, I'm sorry, but today it is just not an option to not eat on the live stream because we are pretty hungry.
Thank you.
All right, what's up?
I actually just finished talking about how it's always on, always monitoring, it has a camera and a mic. So I thought we might as well talk about that.
So Microsoft has a patent that they just filed for that will allow them to use that technology to see how many people are in the room, and it looks like create a way for you, because, I mean, okay, so we talked about a lot about content and video streaming earlier on in the stream. What if they could charge you per set of eyeballs that's actually watching the stream?
Oh my goodness. That takes away the whole pay-per-view idea of just getting one like, say you want to watch a hockey game that's pay-per-view. One dude buys it, everyone orders a pizza and goes over to that guy's house. That completely destroys that.
Yes.
You might still do it because you want to hang out with your buddies. But
I mean, at what point do we end up in an arms race? Never mind pirating content versus paying for content. Now we're talking not paying as much as they want for the content. So are we going to end up in an arms race where people, okay, so first Microsoft's going to be able to detect how many bodies in the room, and it's not just Microsoft. I mean, and if they're patenting the technology, that doesn't mean they don't plan to license it to someone else or whatever else. So
and someone
first,
will find some way to rip it off.
First, it's finding out how many bodies are in the room. Then people compensate by like, I don't know, they make couches that your body like melds into. Then they're going to figure out how to track how many eyes are in the room. Then people figure out glasses that block them. And then, really? Is that the path we're going to go down?
Well, we kind of already are, just not physical objects. It's been an arms race to hide things and be non-detected. It always will be, 100%.
But I mean, come on, it's one thing if you go to a movie theater where you're basically renting the space. And that was expensive. I mean, they had to build that building, okay? Movie theaters need to make money. Totally get it. But when we're talking about my TV that I bought, my Xbox that I bought, my movie that I bought, why can't I play it? Or like if you had to buy different tiers of like if there was like of the Blu-ray disc, for example.
Services.
Okay, so there's a Blu-ray disc in a store. You can buy the single viewer license for $3. Although, if it made movies cheaper if you're just going to watch it by yourself. Probably won't, but if you bought like the single user one for $4.99 or the family user one for $19.99, like really, is that where we're going?
Very possibly.
Okay, what's next? Insane though.
Another problem too is with stuff. I don't even know if this is still going on. I don't want to get way too into it, but certain companies buckle to governments all the time for privacy stuff. So if someone wants to do an investigation and you happen to have an Xbox One, if the FBI is looking into you or whatever,
your alibi was you were sitting watching TV at that time. Were you actually there?
Which, in some cases, you could be like, oh, well, that's good. It's also terrible for falsely accused people. I don't want a camera in my house where you can see me all the time. That's ridiculous. That's not cool at all. Because, yeah, it might help find someone's false alibi. It might also help find a lot of other things that you don't need to find. Microsoft will not allow indie devs to self-publish. Which, knowing how fast things can go if it has to go through a bureaucracy, could hurt indie devs a lot, because if you're delaying your releases, that's not good.
That's great for the PC.
A lot of this is great for the PC.
It's great for the PC. You know what? That's the best news I've heard as a PC gamer all day, because indie is what is driving PC gaming in a big way right now, because it is not the AAA titles, and it is not the big game devs that are really driving the PC forward as a platform. It's games like Hawken that are getting people excited and wanting to play games on a PC again.
Oh yeah.
So you know what, Microsoft, if that's how you want to be about it, then yeah.
That's fine. Thanks for bringing people to your other platform, I guess.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Mind you, if Gabe Newell has his way, then it won't necessarily be a Microsoft operating system on the PC.
That's true. Xbox One only has 5 gigabytes of RAM available to developers, while PS4 has 7, I believe. PS4 has 7. They both have 8 gigabytes of RAM. PS4 has 7 available to developers. Xbox One has 5.
A big part of this could be due to the fact that Microsoft is running 3 operating systems on the computer. An Nantex article about the architecture of the CPU, GPU, of the processors in these upcoming consoles was really interesting, because even though they're octa-core, so they have 8 cores, something to bear in mind, guys, is not all cores are created equally. I had someone telling me you couldn't build a PC as powerful as an Xbox One for $500 or whatever it'll launch at, because it has an 8-core CPU. So what, it has an 8-core CPU? So does a Samsung phone. That doesn't mean that 8-core CPU comes anywhere near the performance of a 3570K, which is a quad-core. It's not about how many cores. So anyway, their look into the architecture talked a little bit about how it's 2 4-core modules. And what may end up happening on the Xbox 360, and this is all speculation, is that so you have to segment the resources if you're going to have multiple OSs. You're going to have Windows running, you're going to have Xbox running, and you're going to have sort of something bridging the gap. And if you have to split these resources, the only way to split them cleanly may be to split them by module, which might mean that the Xbox One actually has significantly less processing power available to it than the PS4, which doesn't have to run this modified Hyper-V virtualization environment.
no one will really know. I was talking about this earlier too. With Xbox One's like maybe caching, maybe frame buffering, maybe whatever solution that they're also adding in that the PS4 doesn't have. With all these other things thrown into the fight, it's really interesting. Just to throw this out there about the not as fast cores, to put into perspective, Xbox 360 had a 3-core, 6-thread solution at 3.2 gigahertz. Xbox One has a 8 cores, 8-thread solution at 1.6 gigahertz. So just to throw that out there,
It's not about how many cores, and it's not about the frequency.
You gotta just wait until you see actual performance. We're gonna have to get the consoles before we actually know what's gonna happen. They're both running AMD Jaguars. What?
Sorta.
You know Xbox One's gonna be slower.
Yeah, you know
But
Xbox...
it's the scale that I'm talking about, how much of a difference there actually is. I brought this up earlier when you weren't
go ahead.
actually in the room. Xbox One will be running 8 gigabytes of 2133 megahertz DDR3. PlayStation 4 will be running 8 gigabytes. Did I say 8 gigabytes?
Yeah.
Okay, 8 gigabytes of 5500 megahertz GDDR5.
Which is a bit of a weird choice because the latencies are higher. It's, as far as I know, going to be weirder to dev, but you look at the direction AMD's heading where they want to make the CPU and the GPU much more integrated. Is there any reason, I mean, if that where they're heading, even on the desktop, where we could use GDDR5 memory
It's
as system memory?
It's supposed to be, I was reading the Anantech thing, it's supposed to be a better solution in this case. So maybe, that's a very good way of looking at it. One quick thing, system memory bandwidth on Xbox One is 68.3 gigabytes per second. System memory bandwidth on PlayStation 4 is 176.
Right, which for things like streaming your favorite episode of The Big Bang Theory through the Xbox Store or whatever else is not a factor. But when it comes to loading in game textures, memory bandwidth is king. You need big memory buffers, you need big memory bandwidth in order to make that, in order to have the best possible experience with that. So I don't know how much you've talked about, but I think maybe we'll... let's see if... where are my general notes on it? Did you just rewrite them?
Mm-mm.
Did we talk about how backwards compatibility is dead?
No, I haven't talked about any of that kind of stuff.
Backwards compatibility is dead. Unbelievable.
PlayStation 4
But
is...
there are dogs.
There's definitely
dog.
dogs. PlayStation 4 is apparently trying to mess around with some
Emulation
server thing, something going on. So they're trying to find a solution. As far as I know, Xbox One, as of now, is not trying to find a solution.
It's
but
funny
who
because
knows?
everyone else kind of gets it. You look at what Sony's doing, where on their tablets, for example, they come PlayStation enabled, certain tablets, so you can play PS1 games. How cool is that?
Yep.
I mean, if it's all about the content, if it's all about the game library, leverage the game library. With that said, I've seen people saying, well, when's the last time you fired up an Xbox One game? To which I would kind of go, okay. Okay.
Actually, a week and a half ago.
Okay, fine. Okay. Well, there you go.
I don't apply to most of those things, though. But at the same time, this brings out the other card and the sales boost that happened to it. Wii U backwards compatible.
Right. Right. Wii U backwards compatible.
So these two are not, but Wii U is still fighting.
And now it's funny, get this, because part of the reason for the ID, which people are saying kind of looks like a Betamax player,
Yeah.
but honestly, I don't mind that much because I have a console.
Yeah.
An Xbox 360 is stupid.
It doesn't look nice on a proper, nice
Right.
looking.
Where I've
TV
got my
set.
HTPC, like brushed aluminum finish thing, I've got my receiver, I've got, even a Wii looks okay in there. Like, it looks fine. But the Xbox 360 looked ridiculous.
It's a little bit gaudy.
So I understand why they've done this. And I don't... Oh, yes, right. But if they're not going to build in backwards compatibility, I still have to have my freaking Xbox 360 sitting there anyway. What gives? It doesn't help. It only helps if I...
At the same time, I don't think they've talked about it, and they could very possibly do something that PlayStation has talked about themselves doing. So they could come up with some form of emulation. I mean, it's running a very easy to work with architecture. They could very easily bring up some type of emulation and then just sell you download packs. Like, would not be difficult at all. And wasn't there rumors about some add-on thing for Xbox One?
There was a rumor about that where it would basically contain all the hardware.
But we
of an
haven't heard
Xbox
anything about it.
360.
Another thing is the games. A lot of people bring up, this has been a huge topic as far as I've seen on Reddit and a whole bunch of other forums, is like, oh, they didn't talk about games very much, blah, 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 they didn't talk about games, there wasn't a ton about games. Yes, but E3's coming up. They will talk about games. It'll happen. I'm not that worried about it.
No.
E3's coming up. PAX, not that far away.
Yep.
Those are both gaming events.
Yeah, I mean, this was... I mean, to put it in perspective, honestly, I wasn't as disappointed with the Microsoft reveal as I think a lot of people were. I mean, I was tweeting about it and I was making fun of certain things, like that game dev that's like, so actually, in this game, in the new Call of Duty, you'll be an underdog going up against opponents that outgun you. I'm like, really?
It's funny because the story that they described is basically Homefront.
It's like innovative. Wow, an
Homefront
underdog.
and like every other game ever.
Yeah, every FPS game that's ever been
But
made.
I was reading somewhere that apparently the new storyline for Ghosts actually is like almost directly Homefront. I don't know how true that is. I just read a random comment about that, so I'm not entirely sure.
Can't wait to use the new Xbox controller for Steam Big Picture. Goes back to your thing. It's like, thank you, Microsoft, for bringing us a new controller to use on our computers.
I'm actually really excited about it. It looks really nice. And the feedback triggers, very cool. They're not just free-flowing anymore, although I don't know what that's actually called. But when the trigger just goes all the way down without any feedback.
Oh, yeah, so feedback triggers now. Oh, okay, yeah. So
The new controllers will have feedback triggers, which is very nice. PS4 controllers have a touchscreen. Whether or not you like that, I'm not entirely sure. And I think they're slightly bigger, which I actually like, because I think standard DualShocks are too small, personally. So I think the only major differences on the new DualShock is a touchscreen in the middle, and it's slightly bigger. What they do with that touchscreen could be okay,
or it could be totally dumb.
or it could be totally dumb. But if you can, like, wake up your machine by, like, a swipe,
Sure, I mean, if you wanted, you could also buy yourself a Microsoft tablet, and you could run Smart Glass, and then you could have a touchscreen that shows you the map of whatever racing game you're
that's
playing
true.
or whatever else. I mean, that's the kind of functionality I see, like a mini map or something like
and
that.
you know from monitors, I don't really like touchscreens. I'd rather have a physical button, but I'm just trying to find a good.
If it's
solution.
handheld, I think it would be crazy for it to not be a touchscreen.
The controller?
Yeah, like sorry, you said the controller is a touchscreen, on it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So if anything handheld, I think it's crazy to not be touchscreen because it's definitely going to be faster to press it than it is to.
Yeah, but
Navigate.
like the center Xbox button, who cares? You want to
Okay.
make a little touchscreen for that? Like I don't necessarily think that's that big of a deal. But who knows? I don't know. What else is there? There's a lot of notes here. Let's go through here real quick. Oh right. So I put this in the cons twice for Xbox, or I think I put it in the cons twice and the pros once. So this will be interesting. Faster DLC and maybe exclusive DLC from EA, which is good if you like spending a lot of money on DLC, which is bad.
And just saying that Xbox One is going to get the fastest release of DLC, that's just like saying they'll have release day DLC.
Yeah. So you can download DLC on the day that you buy your game.
Which, by the way, Microsoft and EA already exists. Yeah, there we go.
Wait,
See, we can't even manage to... It's like...
Too much confusion because of EA. Different timing. Anyways.
Having to install games on the console, have you covered that at all?
Nope.
So having to install them, having unlock codes...
And it only has, what is it, a 500 gigabyte hard drive?
I know!
Which, like, yeah, okay, part of that's taken up by whatever shows you want to watch if they download to your machine. I'm
Yep.
not entirely sure if that's possible. Part of that's taken up by the OS.
Yep.
Part of that's taken up by the fact that
Oh, I had
Gibby Byte, whatever.
I had a hilarious call. I was on a conference call with one of the hard drive makers, and I was like, how did you guys let this happen?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, I mean, it's not like the Xbox One is so small they couldn't have put a 3.5-inch hard drive. We have 4 terabyte 3.5-inch hard drives. Why isn't Microsoft allowing you to have multiple hard drives? Why doesn't... I mean, have you seen Seagate's NASs that have those... You know how you have 2.5-inch drives where that has like a slot loading drive? Bring back memory cards then. I don't care, but make them hard drive cartridges.
250 gigabyte memory cards.
Fine, but come on. 500 gigs and that's all you need and you have to install every game?
due to like stuff like Humble Bundle and Steam Summer Sale, my games drive on my computer is like 900 gigs.
And it is not like a casual sit down and play experience when you have to download a game before you play it.
That's another thing. I think with Xbox One you can play games while you're downloading another game. With PS4 you can play that game as long as it's downloaded enough, kind of how Blizzard does. Mm-hmm. I know a few other game companies do as well. Blizzard is a pretty good example because they do it with StarCraft and WoW. But if you're done a percentage of the game, you can start playing. It might not be the best experience, might not be the whole game, but you can play a bit. That's kind of cool. Another thing, PlayStation is making it mandatory for every game to have a demo, which is awesome. And I actually think that this will...
I've never been much of a Sony fanboy, but this is making it happen.
Yeah, a little bit. I think this will make it better for their PR stance because gamers are going to go like, yes, I get demos for everything, right? That's awesome. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, it's great for Sony because I know a ton of people pirate games just because they want to figure out if they like it or not.
Yep.
So now...
I know people who legitimately do it. They pirate it, and then they actually legitimately buy it. They have the box on the shelf that they've never opened.
Yep.
Because they want to support the game dev, but they want to support the game dev assuming that the game is good.
If they like the game. And a trailer is not enough.
Trailers are stupid.
Trailers, like, sure, they build hype, but they're not enough.
I mean, you got to attach them to your truck, and then you got to actually drive somewhere. They hurt your fuel economy.
Oh, totally. And like driving with that hanging behind you.
And like,
it's not actually that easy.
The last time someone was like, "Do you want to go to the park?" and we ended up going to a trailer park, they didn't even have a seesaw.
That's terrible. You have to have a seesaw.
Trailers suck.
Yeah. Anyways, more legitimate topics.
Okay. So Xbox One phone home. Now there was a lot of rumors about always on. Now, something to bear in mind, guys, is a lot of the time rumors are started by the companies that the rumors are about so that they can gauge the response that they get. So my suspicion, and I have no idea if any of this is true, is that someone at Microsoft, whether it was in them leaking it or whether they were just keeping an eye on it, was interested in how people would react to always on. And it sounds like the compromise that was reached, because I'm sure always on is great for the game devs and for the hardware makers and all this stuff. So always on isn't an internet connection, guys, just to clarify. So it's great for them because it means that they can be constantly validating what hardware you have in it. They can roll updates out to you like that. There's no such thing as, mod chipping it and then never connecting it to the internet again. Gone. However, always on is sort of terrible for people, for the actual end user, because if your internet goes out because whatever, internet connections can go out for any number of reasons. If you had to be always on, you end up in an experience like Diablo 3 where you simply can't enjoy the content that you paid for because you don't have an internet connection at the time. That's ridiculous. So it looks like Xbox One is going to phone home probably about once a day. And there's no confirmation. It seems like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And that's extremely disappointing. I mean, the point of a console to me was that it does all the things it's supposed to do as a self-contained unit, not because it is going to be constantly needing to be connected and updated and dinked around with and all these weird things. So, very disappointing. Sharing, though, is kind of cool about Xbox One, allowing you to capture footage and upload it. So this is similar to something like NVIDIA's Shadow Play, and this is when we were talking about Xbox One at some point, I alluded to maybe something similar coming for the PC. I was talking about Shadow Play. I think that's very cool technology for gamers.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to find it, but the always-on statistics, yeah, so we don't know what's going to happen if you don't connect once a day. The thing is, you have to connect once a day. No one has any idea what happens if you're gone for a weekend and you don't connect your Xbox. Like, what the heck, guys? Anyways, I can't find the actual percentage right now. I had it earlier. I should have put it in our notes. I'm sorry, but I think it was like 30%. It was surprisingly high. I think it was 30%. It might not be. Someone please correct me. Of Xbox 360 users have never connected their Xboxes.
Wow.
And when this was brought up in an interview, basically they said, oh, well, connect your Xboxes we're all about the new experience of always being connected to everything, being linked to everything, and we believe in this experience, so it's happening.
They have a point.
They do, but I
mean,
had my Xbox connected when I played Halo 2, my Xbox 360. That was it. Other than that, I didn't connect it.
okay, but I mean, what about sort of software updates and stuff? Isn't it nice to be able to get them?
Sure, plug it in.
Okay, all right.
I wouldn't want it always plugged in.
I mean, it's kind of a cabling nightmare. Who has an Ethernet jack
That's
next to
what
their
I
TV?
mean. Like, we don't. If I had to update it, I'd probably bring my Xbox to my computer, temporarily hook it up to my monitor, update it, bring it back down to my home theater area, and then leave it there unplugged. Ethernet unplugged, not power, obviously. So yeah, that's just kind of weird, and like the lack of information is also weird. And I think it reeks of we're waiting for E3, but then it's also kind of a problem because
It also reeks of we're trying to find out how people react to this before we
actually
you know
make
what?
an official statement.
Speaking of reactions, guys, the strongest reaction that you can have is not to complain about it on your live stream, no matter how many thousands of people are watching. The strongest reaction you can have if you don't like anything about the Xbox One, don't buy it. Whatever you do, no matter how many Halo TV series they dangle in front of you that will be exclusive to Xbox One owners or whatever, don't buy it, because if you give them your money, then they win, and they will not listen to you. Okay? That's why when you call up your internet service provider or whatever kind of subscription service, the only time you get any attention is from the customer retention department, because they don't care what you have to say. They have teams of people that are paid to staff phones and tell you they can't do anything, because that is actually more cost effective for them than to actually fix it for you. The only way to address that is to take away the money that they use to pay those teams of people to tell you that they can't do anything. That's when you get to talk to someone real. That's when things will be fixed. If you don't like the fact that Xbox One needs to phone home every day, you and everyone you talk to needs to not buy an Xbox. Microsoft will fix it. By the time you put the amount of money that it takes to develop a console, the amount that Microsoft has riding on the success of this thing, if something comes up as the prevailing reason that no one's buying Xbox Ones, they will fix it like that. So don't buy one if you're not happy with it.
And then if you're happy with it, yeah.
Then buy one.
Yeah, exactly. One kind of cool thing, if you're into it, I'm not personally, but the fantasy football features,
Yeah,
that
that's
is
cool.
actually pretty cool.
That's legit cool.
While you're live watching a game, it will update your fantasy football stats. And it will do it like as a slide in on the side of the screen. Like, that's all actually quite cool. Neither of us play fantasy football.
But
so
there's a
it's
lot
not
of
cool.
functionality that an overlay would enable.
And they could spread this out into other things. And like, okay, that's very cool. Again, we're not really that into it, so I don't think we can talk about it that much, but yeah. And like, I think, what was it? You can have a chat there too, so you can talk to your football pool or whatever.
My fantasy
I don't
football
know.
would have nudity.
Would it? That exists, doesn't it?
Oh, probably. I think there was like bikini football or something. Something like that.
I don't know.
I think I've covered everything I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, the GPU on the PS4, it looks like...
We did talk about that, I think.
Good work.
I did specs there real quick. Anyways, if you haven't seen specs, I'll tweet it out. The Anantech article of hardware analysis and comparison on the two is very interesting. Of course, we won't really know the actual spread difference until they're released, but this will give you a general idea of where they should land.
Yeah, it'll give you... And you know what? We have a pretty good idea of how much power there is behind the Xbox One at this point already. We know it uses GCN, which is AMD's current architecture. We know that it uses an AMD core that already exists in a desktop PC. So what that tells us right now is Xbox One is already about as powerful as a pretty mid-range PC. Like very mid-range, like low-end mid-range.
Although at the same time, with games being properly made for it and all
Blah,
that
blah,
other kind of
blah,
stuff,
and
blah,
being
blah,
able
blah.
to tap directly into the hardware, you're using that OS, and yes, all those things. But I mean,
At the same time,
it's not impressive. And I think have both console makers come out and said that they're
It's gonna
not
be
losing
profitable?
money.
Yeah.
That they're not losing money. That should tell you guys how far ahead of their times Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 were because of how expensive they were to make and try to sell for $500 versus both Microsoft and Sony coming out and saying, well, we can sell this console for whatever a console goes for. I'm going to go ahead and guess and say $499 or $599 for an Elite or whatever. And they're making money on it. So the technological improvements of their consoles have not kept up, trying to align this, have not kept up with the technological improvements that have actually been made in the last 8 years. So there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and do our forum news, because we don't have much time left.
No.
Forum news submitted by Macall.
We've kind of brought this up already, but
Yep.
I find it hilarious.
So, the Xbox One's disappointing reveal has shot up sales of the Wii U on Amazon.com. The system was at 390 before the conference and has now shot up to number 40. This is all a little bit sensationalist due to Microsoft's glorified TV box, but there you go. Sales are now sitting at a 386% sales increase at Amazon.co.uk. So you can click this link and check it out. And apparently we'd have to actually navigate to it. But anyway, we just thought that was pretty funny. Thanks to Macall for contributing that news item. Next up, we've got Titan, Blizzard's new MMO. There's a number of rumors about it. So this one was submitted by Ezivo. Latest news on the game. So pretty much there's the things that are most notable to me are the fact that it's going to be based on Earth's history with a lot of mythological stuff, which is really cool.
And time travel.
Time travel, which is cool. They have 150 devs working on it now, as opposed to, I think it was 100, like 8 months ago, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
So they are definitely ramping it up, and they want to turn it into a competitive esport in spite of the fact that it's an MMO. That sounds pretty ambitious.
Because they were in esports for a bit there. They were in, and then they got kicked out because of the just unpredictableness of World of Warcraft arenas. There were so many changes. Certain things were so overpowered, and this wasn't like just some random kid complaining because he got one shot. Like, certain things were so overpowered, and every single patch would just break something else. So they got basically kicked out of esports. Yes, there's still competitive arenas, but it's not on the level as it should be, like actually should be. World of Warcraft arenas should be very competitive. But because of how unstable because of how unstable it is, it's not.
Comb it with a brick.
Compatible brick combing.
So it'll still be an MMO, so third party point of view. Lots of weapons, which is cool. So everything from magic to guns. And they are expecting a friends and family type of availability sometime in, what was it, Q1 2014?
Yeah.
Friends and family testing in Q1 2014, which means we're not that far away, which is very cool.
Very Blizzard style graphics. You might like
Which
that
is
or
kind
not
of a
like
shame.
that. Yeah.
I wish they'd do something to drive forward the technology.
They're all about it working on every device, though.
Yeah, I know. This 18-year-old's invention could make your future phone insta-charge, so I can't remember her name. Isha Kari, by the look of things, invented a supercapacitor that could someday be a phone battery that charges in just a couple seconds. She won $50,000 for it. She got owned. She got owned! Do you know how much money Apple or Samsung could make off of a phone that charges instantly?
But isn't it? No, she's awarded $50,000 for what she's done, but she doesn't, like, that didn't buy the patent. Everything's still hers.
Okay.
She just got a, like...
Okay. Maybe I missed that part, but either way.
I'm 99% sure.
I hope
that's
she
how
got
it
a lot
went
more
down.
than $50,000 for it, because that's going to change the way we use mobile devices. Because if you
Yeah.
could, I wouldn't care about my battery life if I could zap it and charge it in 2 or 3 seconds.
She's going to be crazy rich if she does this properly. Like, crazy rich. Because she did that by herself, too, as far as I know. So, like, when you have 100% going just to you, oh, man, she's going to have all the money pretty soon.
Yeah, even if she doesn't do it right, she'll still probably do okay.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll have to work anymore.
Yeah.
This is cool. Submitted by Evan Owen. The new Red Dragon camera can shoot up to 6K resolutions and offers many improved features. Now, as you guys know, if you watch the Tech Quickie channel, we are big fans of slow motion. Slow motion's awesome. It makes everything epic. And So this camera is capable. Now, our camera can do bursts of slow motion, but that means you don't get any sound recording, and you can only, like, you have to carefully plan your slow motion shots. The Red Dragon can shoot at 1080p at, I don't even know, it doesn't even say. It can shoot at 2K at 300 FPS, which is basically the only thing we really use for slow-mo on our camera, because that's the only thing we can shoot at 1080p.
Yeah.
It can shoot 4K at 200 FPS. It can shoot 6K at 100 FPS. Now, I've had people...
Aspect ratio.
Yeah, okay, the aspect ratio is different.
It's like 2 to 1 for 6K. And I think for 5K it's
So it's
2.4 to 1.
Very, very widescreen. However, it should be noted that there are reasons for shooting at higher resolution other than if people had 6K TVs. So I had some people asking in the thread, what is the point of shooting at 6K? Couple reasons. Number one is that downsampling an image in the context of cameras is good.
Yeah.
Downsampling is great. One of the reasons that the FS700, the camera that we use for TechQuickie, captures some of the best 1080p available is that it uses a 4K sensor to do it. So it's oversampling everything like crazy and then downsampling it before it actually commits it to memory. Now, if you were downsampling from 6K to 4K or from 6K to 1080p, you would be getting even more of that. The next up is cropping. You would be able to do all the zooming and panning that you want with a shot with a camera mounted on a tripod. Because this was really cool from the No Film School article that was linked to by Evan. Check this out, guys. This is what 6K looks like, or this is what 1080p looks like
On a 6K image.
on a 6K image. This little square right here. So
you could basically move the camera around so it looks like the camera is moving,
yes.
but not actually be moving the camera. So you can have very, very stable, very awesome looking images and then virtually move the
Yes.
view around.
So
Which is kind of crazy.
yeah, absolutely insane. It looks like a kit's gonna start around 30 grand. So I'm thinking we should probably get a couple.
At least 5.
At least five. Five
I
of
think
them.
couple is very conservative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next community news
We'll
item.
just have to sell our bodies for years.
We already talked about this one in our Connect coverage, but just because this is what brought it to my attention, Ethnod gets a shout out, and AMD loses its second place position for the first time since the early 90s. This was submitted by Looney, so there's a chart here. Intel number one at 65.3%. This is by millions of dollars, so millions of dollars are here. Qualcomm and Samsung are now 2 and 3. This is the 2012 rankings. And with AMD coming in at, see, here we go, sorry, 2012 is right here. With AMD coming in at only 6.4% market share as the number 4. Absolutely insane. And I mean, this really just goes to show you how the world is changing in terms of, because remember, the processor in your cell phone, I mean, compared to what the processor in your desktop computer costs, which might be, let's say, a couple $100, the processor in your cell phone might cost 20. So to do that many millions of dollars, you have to sell that many more of them. So many more of them. So it just goes to show you where things are heading in terms of computing and where the volume is in this business. Last one. I'm trying to burn through these here, guys, because we ended up sort of taking a long time on some topics here. The creator of the GIF, which is, it's funny because this is how I read this sentence. I went, GIF creator sets record straight. It's pronounced GIF. So in his acceptance speech at the Webbies, he cleared things up. He invented the GIF, and he used his own invention to accept the award. I'm going to play this.
No audio?
So I got a kick out of that. The reality of it is that he's sort of wrong, because you don't get to change the rules of English. Like I had a friend in high school whose name was Tiger Wong, Except his last name was spelled W-A-N-G. And I said, okay, then it's Tiger Wang. He's like, no, it's Wang. It's just spelled like that. I'm like, well, no, it's actually not how it works. Or like people who are like, it's like someone saying like my name's Joseph, and it's spelled like X-A, F-E-X-H.
Well, there's
like,
that chick in the
no.
States. Her name was like, I think it was L-A-A. And her mom got super freaked out when her teachers kept on calling her the wrong name because her name was Ladasha. This was from a while ago. Because you'd think it was like La'a or something.
Anyway, English has rules. Don't break them. So
I just couldn't care less. Like,
all right, build
Who
logs of the
cares?
week. You're up, Slick. I'll operate the mouse to make things a little
right,
easier.
so let's go down so we can check out these pictures. Oh, you have to log in.
Whoops, I'm not logged in.
Yeah, I would probably go to a different scene
Huh? Why?
because I don't know.
Everyone knows my account name,
Yeah, that's a good point.
and I don't even remember my password. So, if anyone can figure out my password based on that, you're some kind of a genius, and apparently you'll get it wrong because that wasn't it. Now that persistent sign-in actually works, I'm gonna have to try a few things here. There we go. All right. So this build was submitted by Jimstar87.
There's a lot of pictures, so you're gonna have to get down there pretty quick because you'll notice he starts putting stuff in.
Ooh, Sabretooth. Very nice.
Yep. He starts putting stuff
Ooh,
in.
Ballistics Tracer with Sabretooth.
Don't see them enough, and they're awesome. And we might be lagging because there might be a ton of people. So you see, like, stock cooler and stuff. He's not done. He's not done.
Ooh,
Keep
nice
going.
sound card.
Oh, I know. Same sound card as me. It's awesome. And I like that he actually has a sound card. Because so many build logs where people are like, oh, well, I don't want to put stuff in my system. I feel like that. They're just like, yeah, I just want to have a graphics card because it looks clean. No, he puts stuff.
That
which
looks
is
pretty
good.
cool so far.
Yep, he just has a stock cooler.
Ooh,
but
liquid
then
cooling time.
You
Here we
see
go.
the stock cooler going away pretty quick.
Ooh, T-Virus Bay-Res. Very nice. Carbon fiber
Carbon
finish.
fiber wrapping.
Very nice. Inspired by the Vesta i1, perhaps?
I didn't actually read, so I'm not really sure. I just picture gazed. All that carbon fiber. Very, very clean looking.
Wow.
Looks so good.
Very, very overkill and awesome. Now we're starting to get into some of the night shots. Looking
Cool
good.
tubing. I like what he did with the cabling there. How the tubing went on the inside of the cabling and then
Right.
came back out. That's very cool because then it shows off his nice sleeving, but doesn't actually take away much from his tubing and stuff.
Go there.
What's up?
Nope, never mind. Everything's okay.
Okay.
Okay, moving on down. Nice. SSD
All the
with
cables.
Wow.
All the cables. And like he didn't do a bad job here. There's just a billion cables.
Yeah,
This
when
is
you-
actually pretty good.
When you actually build a rig and it's not just for show,
Yeah.
it's often hard to avoid sort of a lot of
Crazy
cabling
cable mess.
nonsense.
So he did a really, really good job with what he had to deal with because
That
he had
looks
an
awesome.
insane amount of cables.
UV LED strips are the bomb, although the Phobia ones I have, about 20% of the LEDs are dying right now.
You
So,
can't tell too much, but they're still really cool.
yeah.
So this looks great, and I'm very, very happy that he just has a ton of stuff.
Look at that.
He made it work, though,
I
which
know,
is so
it's
cool.
awesome.
And he's just got SSDs just like, yeah, they're going here. So, like, there's an SSD right there.
Just like right there.
But, like, that's cool.
Because whatever, yo.
I like it. It's different. He did a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily conventional for
Carbon
like,
fiber
super
on the
nice looking
radiator.
builds.
These all look like camera phone pictures. I wish that they were better pictures, but
Whatever.
it is what
He
it
spent all
is.
his money on his baller computer.
True that. 2 reses just because I can.
Just because it's awesome and there's more stuff.
Oh no,
in the
there's another
computer.
res in the bay too. Just because I can. Apparently. Oh no, it is dual loops. Okay.
Yeah.
But why does he have 3 reses? Or did the bay one not end up making it
I'm
in?
assuming it didn't make it in. I don't
Okay,
actually.
I can't remember.
I think there might be.
Okay. So anyway, guys, there you go.
If you want to see,
Yeah,
oh, there
it's
it is.
there.
It is in there. So
It's there.
3 reses.
So
But,
guys,
like-
do check it out.
I'm very happy that someone just stuffed their computer, because there's more things. I don't think we even saw all of them, but
Yeah, it's sort of endless though.
there's a billion amount of pictures. You clicked the thing, so it faded out a little bit.
All right,
But-
so let's have a look at our
yeah.
next build guide, or not build guide, our next build log of the week, which is, as you might expect, something a little. Oh, we went offline apparently. That's why I was like, what? Okay, well. I wonder what the problem is.
I think it's the images.
Why?
I don't know. What's the encoded thing all about?
That means it's running, but not connected for some reason. Is our internet down?
No, well, I'm talking to them.
Well, I don't know. Should we just call that the end?
Just move over.
Why don't we move build logs of the week to? We'll do them at the beginning of the live stream next week.
Sure.
Oh my God, we have to announce the winner of the meme contest.
I was
Okay,
really
while I
busy.
set up the next stream, why don't you pick one?
Sure. Out of the email that you sent me?
Yep.
Okay. One? Do you have one?
Sorry?
You said, why don't you pick one? Do you have one?
No, we're each picking, or we're, oh.
Yeah, which one have you picked? So
No,
that I don't
just
pick
pick one. We'll just do one.
it. Okay. So are we saying we're just going to after party?
Yep.
And we're going to do build log